Hello, everybody, and welcome to Honey Badger Radio. My name is Brian. I'm here with Allison, and this is Maintaining Frame. I don't remember what number we're on. We're going to be talking about the bare man...
necessities. The simple bare necessities.
The bare necessities. Yeah, I get it.
Oh, boy. No, go ahead. I apologize. When you said bear, we're going to be talking about the bear. I had to go with the bare necessities. I think it was like some sort of reflexive memory from my childhood, you know?
Yeah. Well, we're going to be looking at this whole meme or internet conversation, such as it is. Well, I don't know. It's. I guess we'll just. Does this first video kind of like spell it out?
Yeah.
Do you want to? Okay.
Insofar as if you believe that this is the guy who started the whole bear versus man meme, you know. Like,
okay.
Let's just. Yeah. It's. Before we get into that, maybe we should maybe you should tell us how you found out about the bear meme, Brian.
I saw a video of a guy. It was like one of those man on the street videos where a guy was asking women, like, would you rather be, you know, and like the overwhelming majority of women said they would rather. Essentially, the question is, would you rather be in the middle of the wild with a man or a bear? And they were asking women, and the overwhelming majority of women said they would rather be with a bear. And one could say it was a troubling number if they didn't really understand that it's actually not shocking. Not to me, anyways. I mean, I knew they would say that, and there's a number of reasons for it. But yeah, so that's how I found out about it. How did you find out about it?
I honestly don't know. I think it's just like I'm sitting on the bottom like some sort of plankton feeding animal, and it just floated through. Like just the toxic edge of it floated into my territory somehow. It just, and then I just noticed that it was there. And honestly, I apologize. I just moved back from the mic. Like it just was there. And I'm like, wow, okay. So basically what you've said is women, you could say to men that they are in some way not horrible, or you could say that bears are better than men. Which do you choose? And of course, the women almost universally go with the option of insulting men and dehumanizing them. And whatever, like, I am, my ability to think of women in any positive light
is dwindling
rapidly.
Yeah.
What is drizzled? It's drizzling down the drain.
Oh, now it's grizzling.
Yeah, grizzling out the door. Like it's.
Yeah.
This is just ugly. This entire meme is ugly, right? You are now embarking on the kind of territory that they use to dehumanize groups of men that they consider to be the periphery of society, which is to compare them to animals.
Yeah.
Except that in the past, men would be compared to animals, but at least, you know, the comparison to the animal was what was considered unfavorable. Now you're saying that the animal's more favorable than the man. It's like, how do you excuse this behavior? Like, how do you? And I know there's like, well, you gotta learn, you gotta know. We were so afraid. You see, we're so. But, so you get to dehumanize an entire gender publicly because you're afraid of them. That's certainly what people do when they're afraid of they you know, big guy in the corner. What do? You immediately go up to him and poke him in the eye because you're so afraid of him.
Mm-hmm.
It's just despicable. And I watched the videos of the women when they were describing how they would choose the bear. Shit-eating grins. They're really getting off on it. Like, they were getting off on being cruel.
Yeah.
And it's just like you watch this, and this is just cruelty. That's all it is. It's just cruelty on his face. They make excuses about, oh, we're trying to bring attention to, but I mean, we don't actually mean that bears are less dangerous than men, but we're trying to bring attention to all of the things that men do. No, you're just being cruel. Like, if you went on the streets of, like, I don't know, if we had video from 1942 actually probably be after the war, 1950s. We had video from 1950s of somebody going around and saying, would you want to meet a bear or a black man in the woods? And then you had a whole bunch of smirking white people saying, I would prefer the bear. You know exactly what it was. It was cruelty. It was cruelty. It was a kind of emotional segregation and dehumanization of a group of people. That's what it is. That was what it would be then, and that is what it is now. And there is no excuse for it. Every single one of those women should feel deep shame for her behavior, for stating this. It's absolutely shameful. And it becomes even more shameful when you realize the actual statistics around, for example, domestic murder, when you include the statistics when it comes to children, and don't just exclude them because somehow children aren't part of a home. And then you also look at the statistics around rape and sexual assault, right? This is completely unconscionable, and it is just an act of cruelty. And we're going to go through the guy who brought this into the world because he obviously wanted to construct a monument to how he's different from every other goddamn man on the planet. Incidentally, those are the guys that are really, I would say the men who are like, yeah, I'm going to condemn all other men, but I get to be the good guy because I'm doing that. Those are the ones you should probably pay attention to as being maybe a little bit more likely to be dangerous. Okay?
Yeah.
Driven by that kind of narcissism. And also believing that they're confessing something, but they're putting it in the mouths of other men. That kind of confession, yeah, it should those fingers that he's pointing should be pointing back at him. But we'll cover that video, and then we'll look at some of the fallout. Apparently, there's a woman who imploded her relationship because she asked this question, and she put this up on
They've written articles about how it's like been like straining relationships.
Okay, I'm gonna say this before we even get into it. If you have a female partner who does this to you, that is a red flag, right? And if she doesn't immediately apologize when you explain this is dehumanizing and abusive, and you are actually becoming, you're making yourself a threat, and don't take this lightly. If she can see you in those, like, what is she saying? Oh, I would choose the bear over a man. She is insulting and humiliating, and what's the right word for it? She is dehumanizing an aspect of you, right? That is an indication that she can split black on you. That is a very strong indication of her future behavior in the relationship. Okay? You should really think about whether or not you want to continue to be in a relationship with a person who does stuff like this, especially based on some kind of Twitter or some kind of a viral meme. Like, yeah, this is, and honestly, if she doubles down, it's even bigger of a red flag. Like, if she brings this in, what is the purpose of bringing it in except to humiliate you and dehumanize you?
Well, I think it's to get men to say, oh, honey, we are far more dangerous. Like, it's basically like it's a kind of submission. Or, a shit test, as some people would call it. Just pass the shit test, bro. It's okay.
Well, you know what? The problem with that is if she can put you in the villain role that easily, that you should take note to that. Because that when you are in the villain role is when you are the most vulnerable to a woman. Okay, and a woman's the powers of the state and her community that she can bring to bear. So take note and be very careful. And I know that men exist in a situation where they really can't question their partners that much because, in many cases they're their only source of any kind of social approval, affection, all kinds of other things. So it puts them in a very bad position. But this is the kind of behavior you really. Like, if you can, I mean, you maybe don't even confront her publicly about it. Keep yourself safe if she's not the kind of person who you can be open with or vulnerable with. If she is sort of, if she's incredibly callous, if she dismisses your experiences, you know, you can't do that, then just think about quietly moving along, making yourself uninteresting to her, trying to you know, like, just move out of her sphere, and do so in the most neutral, quiet, and careful way possible, by cultivating an aura. Usually the way that they do it is cultivate an aura of boredom, and she'll eventually float away, and then you can breathe a sigh of relief. Ugh. But that's and I don't like. No, no, this is actually a pretty big red flag. You can. I'm getting off my podium. If you have an alternative viewpoint, Brian, go ahead and state it.
No, we'll look at these
okay.
links. So you want me to start with this video?
Sure.
Well, okay. So this is a tweet. Wait, why'd you close your thing?
I'm still here. I'm still here.
Okay, all right. Don't close your thing because people can see that you left.
Oh, I was just gonna take off my jacket. That's all.
Oh, okay. So I have this tweet from Sister Fanta Maria. Yeah, just do it on the stream.
I'm stripping on stream.
And it's well, she writes, or is that I assume it's a woman. She tweets or posts, well, hashtag all men. Here it is from the horse's mouth, the man that started the entire man versus bear thing. And guess what? I'm still hashtag team bear. Because feminists are so pleasant. Or am I just saying women? Alright, so let's play this video. Well, go ahead.
Okay, alright, no, let's play the video.
Alright, let's play the video.
I'm not gonna get a copy.
It's a minute and a half. So it's on Twitter.
Bear or man in the woods thing was never actually a would you rather question. I know because I'm the one who started it, and I figured I'd use this tag to clarify some things. On March 12th, I ended a video by saying, if you're alone in the woods, seeing a man is 10 times scarier than seeing a bear. Someone commented on that video saying, no, seeing a bear is so much scarier than seeing a man, bro. I responded to that comment laying out why women are more scared of men than the bear, and that response went viral on the 19th. This topic started trending and growing for a few weeks, and then it really blew up with the street interviews. I never presented it as a would you rather question because I already knew that women were picking the bear and men were picking the man. My whole page is trying to get people who look like me to empathize with and understand the life experiences of people who don't look like us.
You don't even understand your own life experience.
So my intention here was to get men to think about why the world looks so different for women that they would actually choose the bear. And my challenge to any man watching who picks the man in this scenario is, can you get yourself to a place where you would rather pick the bear? Can you get to that level of understanding? Because if you can bring yourself to understand why they choose the bear, congratulations. You've experienced 1% of 1% of 1% of what they experience every day of their lives, and you experienced it for 2.5 minutes.
Very helpful. Yeah, like, you know, birth rates aren't low enough. The inability for the sexes to see eye to eye isn't bad enough.
Well, all I'll say is this is TikTok, so that guy probably works for the Chinese government. So good job. Probably. No, I'm serious. I think a lot of this stuff is propaganda. We know for a fact that a lot of people work for either the Chinese government, the Biden administration, or some other entity, the CIA, and they go out and they go into social media and they propagandize the crap out of people, and it's very, very, very effective against women. Very effective against women. I'll say it again, it is very effective against women. And so, when that guy said, I knew that I would choose women because I'm such a great guy that I know how terrifying I am, and women just eat it up. Boom, 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 boom. I'm so scared. Boom, boom, boom. And then other women are like, oh, you're scared? I'm scared too. Boom, boom, boom. Sisterhood. Boom, 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 boom. And so, you know, this is effective. And unfortunately, that's just the way it is. Now, here's I made a video about it. Actually, I did like a little live because I wanted to see what the Twitter live was like. And I said that what I think is going on with this man versus bear thing is somebody, the establishment, the communists, the feminists, whatever, doesn't matter. The people who want to see the West collapse, they occasionally will start a meme to scare the crap out of women, and then they will do like a health check. Like, let's see how scared women are today. How effective has our fear porn been? And they check in, and that's why, like, I saw a video on Twitter where a woman was saying, you know, something to the effect of, women are choosing the bear, therefore women's fear is justified. And it's like, no, the propaganda against you is effective, and your reaction proves that. That's all. Like literally, you can be as scared of something as you want, but if it's irrational, it's irrational. And that is just irrational. So I do have a video that I shared of a woman who was actually attacked by a bear, and a bunch of men came to her rescue.
Okay.
You want to see that?
Sure.
All right, so I'm gonna share that. And
Well, before we get into that.
yeah, if you want to respond to this other thing first, that's okay.
Well, yeah, but he's basically saying, well, this is a consciousness raising exercise. So why men need to think about why women would choose the bear? Well, the reason why women would choose the bear is because they think that men are more dangerous, because the propaganda has told them that for years and years and years. And I'll go through
generations. Generations. Yes.
I'll go through one aspect of that propaganda, which is the sexual assault numbers. There is no reason, based on the sexual assault numbers, for women to bear an asymmetrical burden of fear. In the last year, according to the CDC, which had put on the largest study into sexual assault and sexual violence ever in the U.S., according to their study, in the last year, for 3 years in a row, men and women were assaulted, sexually assaulted, that is, forced to have sex equally. Of course, they didn't regard it when men were forced to have sex as rape in most circumstances, because if a woman forced a man to penetrate her, that was not considered rape by the study. But if you include all the instances of forced sex, which, you know, I think that forced sex A is pretty much equivalent to forced sex B, so I'm going to include all of them, then men and women have equal risk. And the men report about 80% female perpetration. So the rate of perpetration is not significantly gendered either. So the risk is not gendered, the rate of perpetration is not gendered, and yet we labor under this perception that somehow women are at such greater risk than men. They're not. They're not. Okay, this is something that is ungendered. It's something that men and women do to each other. It's a problem that we're all facing together against the criminals and the abusers. And the other thing is that I get all these people with, oh, but the lifetime numbers are so different. Yes, but if you look at the research into child memory, traumatic memory, so remembering traumatic sexual assaults, men do not remember verified histories of child sexual abuse. They remember at 1/4 the rate that women do. Let me say that again clearly. Men remember a verified history of child sexual abuse, so that he was investigated as a child and it was found that he was indeed being sexually abused. Men remember that at 1/4 the rate of women. 1/4. And women also don't remember every instance of verified sexual abuse either. So 64% of women who've had a verified experience or incidents of child sexual abuse remember it. That's 36% of women who somehow the traumatic memory just disappears, or it doesn't become salient, or they can't recall it on a survey instrument. Sometimes that happens. And then with men, 16% of men with a verified history of child sexual abuse recalled it on a survey instrument. Okay, so you want to know why the lifetime numbers is like 1/4 for men is 1/4 that of women, and yet the last 12-month numbers is equal? That is why. The end. So we cannot look at the lifetime numbers. And you simply have to recognize and accept that men and women run the same, 100% the same risk for sexual assault in the upcoming 12-month period, the same. So that this is one huge part of the fear, because they talk about how in this whole bear meme, they're like, well, bears, they'll just kill you horribly.
Yeah.
Like, unbelievably horribly. Like you'll have part of your intestine being eaten by a bear while you're still alive, but they'll just kill you. But men will do horrible things to you. It's like, well, women do horrible things to men. Men and women do horrible things to each other. Right? The honest to God truth is, okay, you know what? I'm continuing on my podium, so I'm gonna walk off of that thing.
All right.
I'm gonna get right back off.
I just wanna add to what you're saying, that like, even if it's true, the numbers are the same, and everybody knew that, I still don't think men would be as afraid. I don't think they would not say that I would rather be in the woods with a bear than a woman. Like this is
different.
Yeah, but this is like I think that even if men, now it could just be because men are different, but even if men knew the numbers and they knew them to be 100% certain that it's the same, I don't think men would make generalizations like that. Full stop. No way. They just wouldn't do it.
Well, let's put it this way. Let me put it this way. I'm sorry. I'll get back to my mic. I have to teach myself to do this, but let's put it this way. I don't think men want to cause women that level of distress. Like, I'm pretty sure that, yeah, sure, men aren't as afraid. Well, first of all, they have a better threat assessment when it comes to women versus bears. But let's just look at women versus men in terms of fear of the opposite sex. Yeah, men aren't quite as afraid of women's sexual aggression against them. In some cases, because it's like a hidden secret. Nobody talks about it. Nobody really presents it. And it just ends up blindsiding a lot of the guys who experience it. But what about false accusations? What about being abused publicly and you do something to prevent yourself from being harmed and everybody jumps you as a man? Like, these are fears that men have, and I don't know if they're as large as women's fear of men generally, because
I don't think I think men understand.
Let me just finish, okay? Now, men have fear of women. They fear women. They fear women's false accusations, right? Look at what happened to Johnny Depp. What I think is really happening is men don't tell women that because they do not want to cause them distress. Like, as simple as that. They just don't want to upset women.
Yeah, but apparently their existence upsets women.
Yeah, I know.
So they can't really avoid that. So what do they got to do is basically be the one good man to get out of, like, distressing women.
Or just simply say, like, men are afraid of women. They don't want to say that because it doesn't earn them any social points and because they don't want to be cruel. Like, a lot of this just comes down to cruelty. Look at the shit-eating grin on the women who say, oh, I'd shoot the bear. Like, it's about cruelty. It's about bullying. It's about being abusive towards a group of people you can publicly be cruel towards. Mm-hmm. And I don't think men are as motivated to do that to women. I think there's a subgroup of men, like maybe the red pillars, can get pretty cruel. But, like, for the most part, I don't think men really want to do the same. Right. And I don't know. Do red pillars, are they cruel in this way? I don't know.
No, I mean, well, I think that when you generalize women are they take it way more personally than men.
Yeah, that's true too.
So, but okay, let me show. Oh, I got a Super Chow I should read. So Richard Bier gave us $5 and said, it's on the screen. Perhaps women choose the bear because they imagine the bear as a furry representation of a bear versus an actual bear if realistic size and temperament, or basically a Dylan Mulvaney embodiment of a bear. The follow-up question would be, would you rather encounter a random man or the cocaine bear?
And also, this is absolutely ridiculous because just think about being lost in the Alaskan wilderness and having to deal with bears, and then you see a man. You're not going to be running screaming from that man.
Yeah.
Good Lord. You know, I just recently watched, I think it was the Chilean. Yeah, I think it was the no, it was the team that ended up crashing in the South American Andes. Yeah, right, the Andes. I think they might have been Chilean. No, Uruguay, I think. They were from Uruguay. Am I saying that right? Okay. So I was like watching this, and there was absolutely zero sense of any kind of unique threat to the women who remained as survivors in that group. They all ended up dying, but they ended up dying because, let's be frank, in a survival situation, young men are the ones who are going to survive. Because they just have more physical resilience, and they can lose more blood, they can sustain more injury, they can hike further, and they can live with food without food for longer. So I'm just like, I'm watching this, I'm like, and it's perfectly believable to me that in this extreme circumstance, had nothing to do with this kind of sexual violence hysteria. There wasn't even a whiff of it. It was just people trying to survive. And that's it. And I mean, when you're up against something so horrendous like that, so overwhelming, you really get that sense of you're all just people trying to survive. It breaks down this idea like, oh man, woman, this kind of conflict between the two. Oh, I would choose a bear. No, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't. You really wouldn't. Okay.
All right, so I'm going to show the video of...
Oh, sorry, I got a bit of a headache.
It's okay. I think it's this one? No, this is the one we're doing. Where's the other one?
Okay.
Wait. Where's my...
Oh,
no, it's
did
okay.
your tabs disappear? No, okay, you found them again?
No, here it is. I just had to find the right one.
Oh, right, yeah.
Okay.
It's a suffusion of tabs.
Yeah, it's a bit complex for no reason. So here's a video clip that I shared. And it was shared by someone named Mike Oslo's Best Fruit Fly Wrangler, saying this whole debate is indicative of how much misandry has jumped the shark. And I will play the clip here. So here's a woman. That's a brown bear. I don't know how, I mean... That was a bear on a chain too. So now look, this is to me this is obvious. Like I don't even know like why like we even have to share this. Yet people were still arguing with me about it. I didn't mute this person. I don't know why it says I muted them. Oh, you did. Oh, okay. This is your account.
Yeah. Sometimes I just get aggravated by how much these.
Yeah.
I get a lot of people, and really, if I've muted somebody, it's because I've had days and days of circular argument with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they were basically saying what you said, and I mean, I don't know. Like to me, this should be a no-brainer, like to answer correctly, but it's also not at all shocking to see how it was actually answered. Just doesn't surprise me at all. So, I mean, I just think that this is how captured women are by fear, by irrational fear of men. It's like androphobia.
Mm-hmm.
Is completely irrational, but it is what it is. I mean, this is just where we are now.
Well,
so.
what were the responses to that video? I'm curious.
I have to look at it on my Twitter feed.
Yeah, well, go ahead. If you need to log out and because I can.
No. I don't know my my login stuff. Let me see. So if I go to somebody said, I forgot what they said. Like that's the
just view. Yeah.
Women do internal risk assessment about men. Stop acting like it's a surprise.
Oh.
It said I'm not, And let me look at these. I spent ages very stoically saying our criminologist accepts that the risk of men becoming more savage increases under hunger, stress, and in an uncivilized environment like being alone in the forest, and yet numerous men can't separate this from negative judgment.
Okay, I don't really want to talk about this person anymore, so let's move on.
I know, but well, that's all. That's basically what I got. It's just like a bunch of that.
That's ridiculous. That under stressful circumstances like that, people work together better.
Well, they should.
Good watch the survival of that flight from Uruguay to I think Chile. We'll get the exact flight crashed Andes. It was Uruguayan Air Force Flight 571. I mean, actually look at Tales of Survival. Look at the story of the real Lord of the Flies, because this is pig ignorance.
Where'd you put it?
Well, no, I didn't put it through. I just found the name of it's Uruguayan Air Force Flight. So just take a look at that movie, right? And look at the real Lord of the Flies, because what happened is that in one of those.
Oh yeah, I know. They didn't. Yeah, we know the story of that.
Yeah, well, just really quickly, there was a group of boys who got shipwrecked, and when they were found, like months later, I think it was 16 months later, the people who found them were surprised at how healthy they were, and how well taken care of they were, and by how well ordered and cooperative their society was, and how much they had achieved alone on an island, on like an island in the Pacific. And these were like young boys on the cusp of manhood, and they didn't engage in the shenanigans that people expect of young men, right? This is nonsense. Look at the Survivor Island and what men do. They just get down to doing the work that needed to survive. So no. If men got more hinky in a survival situation, we wouldn't have gotten this far, because that was all our history was. Okay.
Well, I was gonna say, shoot, I was gonna add something to that, but I can't remember what it is now.
Sorry about that.
So that's okay.
Technical difficulties in your memory.
Yeah. It doesn't. Well, oh yeah, right. So here's what I was gonna say. So I brought this up. Well, I've been seeing people talking around this. I saw Lotus Eaters talked about it, and I was annoyed because nobody seemed to get it. They were all like, "Would you rather be in the woods with a bear or a man?" They were like, "Well, I guess it depends on the kind of man. Is it or the kind of bear?" And I was like, "No, you're missing the point. The point is that it's the question is, it's the precedent of the question is whether or not a wild animal is a higher risk than a civilized man, like a human male. So it's not about like, well, if he's like a crazy psychotic man. It's like, yeah, but what we're asking is what are of all the men on Earth, what percentage of those men are psychotic and violent? That's the question, right? Bears are wild animals. Now you could say, well, if the bear isn't hungry, again, you're getting into bullshit semantics. What are the odds that a wild animal will be dangerous to you versus a man? Not like it depends on the man, depends on the bear. No, it does not depend on that, because the question is predicated on what the odds of that, the creature or the man being hostile are. That's what it. So like you could say, well, what about a wolf that's like, I don't know, like really overweight, it just ate and it's unconscious. Well, yeah, that wolf's not dangerous, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about if it's just a wolf and it's a dice roll, what are the odds, right? With a bear, it's easily like more, higher odds that they're going to be hostile. Like it's like I said, well, and I changed it because people were like, well, it depends on the bear, and I was like, well, okay, how about if it was a gorilla? Like just a gorilla. Now, gorillas are generally peaceful and they eat vegetables and they keep to themselves, but if you're around one, you don't know what it's gonna do, and if it chose to do something to you, you would be screwed. Like you wouldn't be able to do anything about it. This is what I'm saying, right? So the whole like conversation about, well, it depends on the man, don't do that. Like it's predicated on the odds of that person being hostile. So when you say the man is more dangerous than the bear, you are saying that in general men are more dangerous because right? So you're basically saying men are more likely to be violent, more likely to be dangerous. And going back to this guy, the one good man guy who started this whole thing, he is basically saying men have to think about this because men's empathy is important. But they're literally trying to fill an empathy, well, an understanding.
Appeal to an empathy that they say doesn't exist.
Right, but also that you would have to, you're basically asking people who really have very little to no empathy for you to not consider you a monster, because a woman with empathy would say, well, I know that most men wouldn't hurt me, right? Like those, like even stranger men would come.
I consider the fact that this statement is a very harmful, abusive statement. Okay, mm-hmm. Because what I'm seeing is when they say that, then they say what's really being said is, I am choosing the bear. I'm throwing myself on this horrible thing because you are so much worse. Make yourself better by, I don't know, my criteria that I will state.
Whatever that is, right?
And I will itemize to you and send to you. You know, that's mm-hmm. What this is an emotional extortion. This is basically, mm-hmm. I am holding your humanity hostage until you solve these problems, which you may have absolutely no control over at all. Like an average man has absolutely no control over the behavior of a rapist. I mean, just a male rapist. Female rapists we don't even care about, right? But a male rapist is more genetically distinct from the average man than a gay man is from a straight man. How much control does straight men have over gay men's behavior? That's how mm-hmm. much, even less control over a rapist's behavior. Like there is no connection between a normal man and a rapist. Okay, and even the genetic qualities that make a man a rapist, genetically distinct from normal men, because it is not normal sexual behavior for men. It is absolutely abnormal. It's a result of a genetic defect. But it's also not, these men don't just have a genetic defect. They're not only defective genetically, they also have been sexually abused themselves in many cases.
In most cases,
yeah. You not only have to have a genetic defect to be a sexual abuser, at least for men, we don't know for women because we haven't done the work, but you also have to have been subjected to sexual abuse or severe neglect yourself. All right? What are normal men going to do there? What conceivably could normal men do to change that? Well, I guess they could institute a policy of eugenics to get rid of the genetic defect that creates rapists. I mean, they could do that, I suppose. They could create services to intervene for at-risk youth, which we used to do in the 90s before the feminists got rid of them. And also Justin Tracci of Cafe, the man single-handedly bringing men's services to Canada, is trying to do, but is being stonewalled by feminist bureaucrats in doing so. We could do that, but but what a normal man cannot do is anything that feminists ask him to do in order to actually reduce the rate of rapists. Nothing that feminists ask men to do is going to decrease the rate of rape. And in fact, a lot of it will only increase or keep it stable, because they ask that we look at this from an ideological lens. We focus on rape jokes or bad taste comedy or other things
victim blaming, what was she wearing kind of stuff. Yeah,
I got a victim blaming statement to say about bears and wild animals there, but yeah, we have to focus on all of this other stuff and not on things that actually would reduce the number of rapists, which would be interventions, mental health interventions, therapeutic mm-hmm. interventions, and I guess maybe in the future some kind of genetic like a palliative, like a genetic, like the genetic therapy to get rid of the defect. That mm-hmm. might work, But it's 100% not what feminists are telling us to do, because they don't want to take this from the realm of ideology and controlling the culture. Listen to me. They want to control the culture, and they are using rape to do it. They don't have no interest in any kind of intervention that might actually work, but doesn't support their bid to control the culture. So everything that feminists ask men to do, or sorry, demand, the average man who has no control over these genetic freaks that are rapists, everything they ask them to do will either do nothing to change the existence of rapists or make it worse by diverting attention away from legitimate interventions. And I wanted to say before I hand the mic back to you, Brian, I know I've been saying a lot. When you look at this whole thing, I've seen a lot of tweets saying, oh, well, at least I wouldn't be victim blamed. Are you freaking kidding me? Whenever a person gets into some kind of situation with a violent animal, the first thing people say is, why were you there? That's the first thing people say. Why were you in its territory? Why were you in its line of sight? Why were you going anywhere near its den? Why did you get between it and its young? Why? And then after that, what were you wearing that attracted it? Did you not put your food in up above on a cachet stick? You know, did you have scents on you that are attractive to bears? Did you go into the woods on your rag? Like, this question after question after question. Are you kidding me? Be attacked by an animal and you will see everybody start their engines in terms of what you would call victim blaming if it was a man. Because you get no excuses when you're attacked by an animal. Everybody will 100%, 105% put it on you for not knowing better. Ugh, okay.
All right, so I got something else, I think.
Sorry about that. I was just, I mean, if there was anything further you wanted to add to it, this is really infuriating. I didn't even realize how infuriating this was.
You want to do this Reddit thing?
I should be like you, Brian. I should be like, yep. This is just another cycle in the machine.
I mean, I don't even think this is
a particular.
I don't know. One. Well, no, it's just sort of par for the course. Like, this is just what I expect. And I think that it does come down to, like, women benefit from their appearance of weakness, and so they use it whenever they can. And feminism has, the reason why feminism has not addressed the issue of rape is because if they did, then they would stop getting paid, and they can't do that. So it is to maintain their hold on society. It is maintain the control over the culture. It is not to solve women's problems. It is not to solve men's problems. It is simply to keep men and women fighting with each other and divided. And it works. And I mean, you know, men, like, they're still putting up with it. They're still putting up with it. So, all right. So I got this Reddit post.
Okay. Yep.
About this. So we're gonna look at this. Here we go. And this is. Oh, I got a Super Chow, and I should read. That's the other thing I forgot. So I got a Super Chow from I think it was Great Indoors, and he gave us $5 and says, "But what if it was the bear in the movie The Shining?" Well, I don't remember that, but it's been a while. And then I got another Super Chow from Richard Bier, and he says, for $5, would you rather encounter a bear in the woods or encounter a in the woods?
I don't know.
A Star of David. Don't read this out. It's too edgy. Oh, I know what you're saying.
But imagine if you had like a Star of David on the ground, like etched into the
like some kind of summoning circle?
Yeah, like a summoning circle. That might be a little bit intimidating.
Yeah. But again, well, like those little twig things from Blair Witch Project. Yeah, sure.
Those are like twig things like hanging out of branches. That
would be creepy.
Creepy.
But anyway, not useful. So This is Reddit. I shared the bear versus man dilemma with my boyfriend and didn't get the response I expected. Now I'm sad. And this is the thing. This is how I know this is like a trap. This is why I suspect the guy who put it out there is either paid by the Biden administration, the CIA, or the Chinese government, or all three. Because it is a setup. Like, women are already conditioned to down men whenever they get a chance, or say that they're afraid of them or whatever, because they know that it controls men's behavior. So they have to like make a claim that men would never be okay with because they get a result that they like, which is essentially male submission. And men will be on the defensive immediately because it's kind of a ridiculous thing to assert about men. So it's a setup. It was a trap from the get-go. That's why the guy could confidently say, oh yeah, you know how many men probably said, dude, we're not dangerous. Well, somebody who's really dangerous would say something like that. It's essentially what's going on, right? And of course, it's a trap. Like it's like the way that, you know, when the way that some women argue with men, when they try to like get them in trouble and they like put them in this, you know, rhetorical corner, and the men are just trying to like not be like, you know, dogged on.
Yeah, I know. I've done that.
Yeah, and the women are like, oh, you're digging yourself a deeper hole, you know, and it's like, okay. But you know, if one day men were like, you know what, fuck this, women are gonna be crying, like they're gonna be like, oh, Handmaid's Tale, oh my god. But it's like, you know what, it's funny too, Allison. All it takes to like really piss women off is just say, hey, repeal the 19th, right? and there's like videos, and they're like posting blogs, and they're going crazy. But when it comes to like whether or not men or bears are more dangerous, they're totally happy to jump in there and just like get their digs in. But they would never find themselves in that situation because a man, I guarantee you, would come to the rescue anyway. And they'd be like, well, you know, they'd have something to say about that. Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, I've done that with Jonathan. Like, get him into a rhetorical. Of course, he doesn't play, so what ends up happening is I'll do that, and then they'll just run away and chuckle.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily judge him for getting into those rhetorical corners. But again, he doesn't play it. It's like if I went up to him and says, "Does my ass look fat in these jeans?" He'd be like, I am not here to make you feel better about your ass, or something like that. So, but you know, it's just, I think all women do that. I think the difference is maybe they become more self-aware about it and don't allow that to sort of set the tone of their relationship. If it makes sense. I don't know. It's just, you know, being insecure seems to be part and parcel with being a woman. I'll just say that.
Yeah. And also blaming men for your insecurity is part and parcel of being a woman.
Yeah, that's true.
That's one thing that's got to stop. Anyway,
you're right.
Yeah, it does. All right, so I shared the bear versus man dilemma with my boyfriend, and I didn't get the response I expected. Now I'm sad. His response was, quote, I think there are two questions here. One, the fear that women feel of men. Two, the total lack of knowledge that women have about what it means to meet a bear, end quote. Yes, that's true. Then I said that it wasn't about the bear, but rather our perception of men. Well, that's a problem, isn't it?
What?
But he wanted, yeah,
well,
but rather...
But didn't he say that in number 1?
The fear that women feel of men. Yeah, no, but women's perception is important. It is reality, Allison. It's reality.
You can't just say, well, maybe if it's about your perception, maybe your perception is wrong. Let's look at this and look at it logically and correct your perception. Like, this is a Kafka trap. Okay, keep going.
Yeah. But then I said it wasn't about the bear, but rather our perception of men. But he wanted to take another route. How many people know how to judge the differential danger of all these animals, you know? And even an audio about statistics on the number of bears you encounter versus the number of men and the rate of bad interactions. Then I said, I'm not going to talk to you about this, okay? Because clearly we were having two separate conversations, and at that moment I thought it was insensitive for him to go that route, and I didn't want to hear about it. Oh my God. So you just wanted him to say, men are dangerous, honey. I know I'm a terrible person. I get what you're saying. I wish I understood the fear that women feel every day. But because he was like, no, let's be rational. You're being ridiculous. Let me explain. And you're like, well, you don't get it. I'm still afraid all the time. Why don't you understand that? It's like, you're pathetic. You are pathetic. Anyway.
Yeah.
I'll finish this.
Okay, let's talk about what she might have actually... Okay, let's finish this.
I'll finish it. Okay. So she says, I'm not going to talk about this, okay? Because clearly we're having two separate conversations. Yeah, one in reality and yours. And at that moment, I thought it was insensitive for him to go that route, and I didn't want to hear about it. And in addition to audios saying he was mad at me, he writes, I don't accept that you come and cut off a conversation. I'm upset even now. I don't want to hear your random questions anymore. I will no longer answer them. I have no obligation. I'll go to sleep angry and probably wake up angry. I don't know what I'll be like tomorrow. Maybe I don't want to see you. And now I have a horrible feeling in my stomach and uncontrollable tears. I know there's a lot wrong there. I feel it, but my feelings are blurry, and I know I will hide it in my subconscious and not elaborate. Okay. So he wrote this. So he basically is like, no, he did that. He said that to her because she made him feel like shit. I mean, it
comes down to it, ladies.
So like, I thought men are supposed to. I thought men were supposed to express their feelings more. I thought this is what we were supposed to do.
Express his feelings. Like, and I don't know if it would have helped if he had. But here's the thing. When you beak off about this shit like this, when you dehumanize men, they don't like it. And yeah, sure, they start going, well, actually, because that's what men do. When you fucking hurt their feelings, they start to go into that kind of place of logic as a defense. This guy should have simply said, why are you being abusive to me? Mm-hmm. Why are you bringing up this abusive Kafka-esque trap? Why are you putting this on me? I'm trying to live my life and you are trying to abuse me, right? You are trying to dehumanize me. Go put that shit back on TikTok and come back when you're ready to have a real relationship. Now, he didn't say that, but he probably should have. Instead, he's like, well, let me talk about when we engage with this rationally. This was his last ditch effort to basically salvage the conversation. Let me engage with this statement rationally. You've dehumanized me based on my gender identity. Let me engage with it rationally so maybe I can get you to see my side. There is absolutely no point that is actually him being gracious and saying, okay, I'm going to actually give this the time of day. Like, honestly, guys, you have my permission if your girlfriends or your wives come with you at you with this bear versus man crap to simply say, you don't get to dehumanize me. Go away. When you want to engage with me on an adult level, then we'll talk. But you don't get to dehumanize me. You don't get to put me into that category of something less than you. Right? Goodbye. I'm not interested in this. And just leave it at that. Explain that this is dehumanization. It is hurtful. It is damaging. It removes trust and intimacy. And don't do it. Like, you're just being an abusive chauvinist, lady. And he didn't say that. Instead, he was like, my girlfriend is being an abusive chauvinist. What do? Maybe I can articulate myself in a logical way so that she can understand my position. That's him attempting to salvage her asshole-ish behavior. That's him saying, okay, so you have decided to be a complete pig today. Let's see if we can make a silk purse out of this. And she didn't even, but nope, she continued to be a pig. And I hope this guy goes with his gut instinct when it comes to this woman. I hope he does. Because I'm telling you that the finally, like, salvaging it, then going to, you made me angry. And it's not even anger. When men say you made me angry, that means you hurt them deeply. Okay? You've caused pain. And now they are reacting angrily, defensively, because you have become the enemy. Right? This is what this woman has done. And I hope now that he's in a position of understand, or he's in the emotion of it, that he goes with his gut instinct in regards to her, and that whole thing, like, I don't want to see you, becomes, we're done. And that is what she did. She did this to her relationship. She did it. Even if he was a guy who's like, yeah, I know, I'm less than you. I'm just a wild animal, and you're a real person. Yeah, I understand it. Yeah, no, I know women they're just live in terror because we're so awful, and I'm a man, and I deserve to feel the guilt and the shame of all men because of, even if he does that, you have just murdered the intimacy and trust in your relationship, ladies. Goodbye. He's on his way out. I mean, he may not actually be able to physically leave you, but his soul and his heart is out the door. Congratulations, you've destroyed your relationships. Unbelievable.
So I got a Rumble rant that I wanted to read. I forgot to read it from before.
Okay.
NovaFan21 gave us $1 on Rumble and says, "Feminist, we need men to trust women. 22nd century men. Not trusting them is how our grandfathers survived the 21st century."
Okay.
Thank you for that, NovaFan.
I will say that some woman was talking about how I did this tweet where I resent out that meme about microaggressions. The woman who did a while back, some woman did a comic on microaggressions, right? And then some wag sort of did a parody of her comic, and I sent out the parody, and some woman commented on it and said, "We're telling men we don't want to have people pay. We don't want to have people paying attention to us. We're just drowning." And I'm like, well, first of all, and then they said nobody's listening. I'm like, well, there's no hive mind to listen to you when you appeal to men, but you'll be happy to note that 10% of men over the last 2 years, the number of men who are willing to engage with women for any capacity, not just relationships or like hitting or a potential date, that's any capacity, like going to them and saying, hey, where's the bathroom, right?
Yeah.
Has dropped 10% in 2 years. It's pretty significant. I'm pretty sure the bear meme has dropped that another 10%. But let's keep doing this. Let's keep doing it. Yeah, I'm sure this is going to be incredibly beneficial in the future.
Yep.
Now she's sad, and she's going to make herself a victim of her boyfriend's instinctive response to her abusive behavior.
Yeah.
Watch this space.
You want me to go to look at the comments, or should I move on? Because we got like.
No.
All right. So
horrifying. Like
yeah, they're all like, I've been around bears. They're not as dangerous as men. I lived it. I know.
The comments. Your boyfriend is awful because he didn't kowtow to your abusive behavior. Like literally, ladies. Would you want to be in a relationship where the man just comes in a huff and he's like, oh, well, I saw this tweet and it said that women are worse than snakes, and what do you say to that? And then he expects you to go, yeah, of course, yeah, I'm worse than a wild animal. I'm less moral than you, and you're total threat to you because you're civilized people and you're better than me. You're like, is that like, what would you say about that? Like, honestly, like a demand for this man to subordinate himself morally to his partner, and also to, I don't know, use his empathy to empathize with how unempathetic his gender is. Ugh. Okay, yeah, let's look at some memes. They're pretty funny.
Well, I just have that one.
No, there's plenty more. Like if you hit that link, you will see a ton more.
All right.
No, we can explore first. So we have, for those of you who are just listening, we have a German Shepherd, or probably a Malinois, jumping off a cliff after a eagle, and the Malinois is labeled women, the eagle is labeled insulting men, and the drop of the cliff is labeled bears.
So this is like the start of a thread?
Yeah.
Because I only see the one. I'm in the meme bunker.
Yep. Keep going down. Scroll down.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
they're in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
and by the way, guys, I'll do the things. I know it's a bit late in the day, but If you would like to send us a message, you can do so at feedthebadger.com/justthetip. We get the full benefit of whatever funds you send, and you get the full benefit of not sending them through YouTube. So once again, that's feedthebadger.com/justthetip. If you're on Twitter, I know that there's no option to tip us and send a message, so that's the best way to do it. Feedthebadger.com/justthetip. Okay, so the Ryan Gosling bear being chosen by the AI girlfriend in Blade Runner.
Yeah.
Very adorable.
Are these all like AI things or?
No. That's it. That's the. Have you?
Well, some of no. I've watched Blade Runner. I'm just looking at some of the other ones.
Yeah, a woman hugging the bear, and it's so cute and cuddly, but the slightest. I can't get it up and open. Just a second. Sorry. A little bit.
No, it's all right.
Okay, so just a second. I gotta open it up myself so I can read it, and I have to find it. Our Discord is.
What are you looking for? You want me to read the thing? It looks so cute and cuddly, but the slightest thing can turn this beautiful creature into something so dangerous and violent that the toughest of men could be killed or maimed for life. Here you can see it cuddling a bear.
Yeah, it's a woman
cuddling
a bear.
It's like the woman cuddling a bear. Yeah, no, I've read that. I kind of saw that coming. It was like
yeah.
There was a long throw. I saw it, a wind up. I saw the wind up, and I was like, oh, I know where this is going. Let me see if I got another super. I did get another super chat, or super chow rather.
Yeah, this is such Dulcia. Like this meme here is a woman yelling into a man's ear. The point is, we don't want to choose the bear, bro. So you need to look within yourself to figure out why I'm making that choice. So in other words, I'm creating this false dichotomy, and you need to, I don't know, submit to my will. Like, it's not really about the fact that bears are actually more dangerous than men, because they actually are more dangerous than men. It's about the fact that we're throwing ourselves on this danger because you're so mean to us. So change how you're mean to us, and take responsibility for a genetic abnormality that causes men to rape that you probably don't have and never would do. But you need to take responsibility for it because reasons. And if you don't, I'm going to dehumanize you. Like, good
yeah.
Lord. Oh, good. That's from Baldur's Gate. The man and the bear have a relationship. You know about this.
Yeah, of course I do.
I can tell from that grin.
All right, I get the
You get the gist.
Yeah, I get the gist, the theme of these memes.
Yeah, well, I like the one from Star Wars.
Yeah.
Anakin says, I too think women should pick the bear. And she says, great. That's because you agree with us, right? Oh my god, this is like the last 40% of men willing to talk to women right now. No, it's okay. You can choose the bear. Okay.
All right, I got another super chow.
Sure.
Let me see here. Make sure I didn't. So this one is from Anonymous. And they said, consider streaming via YouTube Shorts. You'll get way more traffic. I explore the streaming method. I've seen channels that normally get 30 views during streaming jump to 200 plus views, and their subscriber count triple. There are tutorials on how to stream on Shorts with Streamlabs and OBS. I jump on this before YouTube nerfs it. Yeah. Well, we're not using OBS. Well, we are now, but we weren't going to, so I didn't explore that yet. But thank you.
But we could.
I know people have been trying to get us to do that. Yeah, I know, but we wouldn't be able to do that and Riverside at the same time. So we'd have to choose. But yes, we can do that.
All right. So are we done the memes?
I think so. I mean, I think we got the gist of it.
From this, I mean, the meme crop from this particular cycle of women demonizing men or feminists demonizing men, it's not bad. Like, the meme crop isn't bad. The shit fertilizes the memes, you know? Oh man. You know what, this does, I mean, I'm laughing, but this actually really is sad. because this is not
Yeah.
helping. It's not helping anything about any of this.
Yeah. And women just really want this to be true. Like, they just want to be able, it's like they just want to be able to make these claims and have no one come forward and debunk anything. They just accept it. Just accept it. We're afraid of you, accept it. That's what we want.
Apparently they want men to sympathize and empathize with them and say, oh, I'm sorry, you have this fear of men. And honestly, I think maybe it's just like women need a man to sympathize with their general fear of the universe. Like,
Yeah,
it's okay.
I think so. They want men to tell them, look, you're not crazy, the world is scary. But men are just like, well, actually, let's look at this rationally. And we're like, no, not like that.
Well, what did women expect? They're basically demonizing men. Like, honestly, ladies, if you went up to your girlfriend and said, I would rather choose the bear instead of you, what do you think that would happen? Like, seriously, do you understand how absolutely noxious that behavior is? So you're going up to your girlfriend and you're saying, well, I would choose to be in the woods with a bear instead of seeing you. And you're expecting her to respond rationally. Or not, well, of course, men are responding or trying to respond rationally. Because that's what men do when you kick them in the freaking proverbial nads. As they try to rationalize what's going on. Right? They don't immediately jump into, hey, you're actually hurting me when you dehumanize me in this way. Right? But it's amazing to me that women don't realize that's what they're doing. Well, maybe. What am I talking about? I guess the ones with the big shit-eating grin probably realize it. They probably are relishing it. Like, but what do you expect? Do you expect that's going to improve your relationship? You go up to a man and say, I'm going to dehumanize you now. You think that's going to improve your relationship with them? And then when they respond badly, you're like, oh my God, you're one of them. Ugh. Like, it just feels like these random ass waves, not random, but these periodic waves where some doofus is like, hey ladies, you could abuse your man in a new way. And all the women are like, oh yeah, that sounds really great. I'll go and abuse them in this way. Oh shit, he responded badly. Oh, he must be one of them. Like, this is somebody's being played for a fool here. Someone is really being played for a fool. Maybe one day in like 20 years, this woman will regret the fact that she lost this guy. She'll be like, that was the one that got away. And I screwed it all up with a stupid internet meme where I basically was told by some random dude with a very, very trained voice, surprisingly. Like, I mean, did you notice that, Brian? His voice is very trained.
Yeah.
That guy is a professional something or other. But
Oh, that's what I'm saying. Totally not.
This random dude.
Dude, the guy's totally a glowy. I'm convinced. They're all glowies.
I listened to this random dude who said, yeah, totally, punch your boyfriend in the nads, metaphorically. It'll, to see what she does. And he reacted badly and ended the relationship. And I actually think that was the one, and it's just like, why are you doing this, ladies? Like, can you not realize that this is stupid? Like, when I say, would you do this to your girlfriends? Why would you do it to the most intimate relationship in your life? You wouldn't do it to your girlfriends. You wouldn't walk up to your girlfriend and say, hey, I'd rather spend time with a bear than a you. Okay, everybody knows what you're doing when you say something like that. Everybody. But somehow if you do it to a man, it's some switch in your brain flicks off and you don't realize that what you're doing is nasty and cruel and abusive. And then when he reacts badly, you think you put it on him. And honestly, that wasn't really a bad reaction. That was him trying to rationalize you abusing it. Like in this case, the woman abuses him. He's trying to just use logic to get her to see his point of view. And she cuts it off, right? She cuts it off. And then he's upset because what he was trying to do was say, don't talk about that. It hurts my feelings. Right? Or maybe reconsider saying this because it hurts my feelings. And he was doing it in a male way. But why would you do this at all? It's like there's some kind of mind out there who's like, yeah, I know how women will respond to this. I know how men will respond to this. And I can totally fuck that up. I can totally fuck up both groups. Because I can tell you, that's how a man would respond. Like, when you are being abusive, he's like, well, let's talk about this logically. Because that's the way men are trained. They aren't trained to go immediately to emotion because they need to control that. And then when the logic didn't work, you got the emotion, you got the anger, which is a defensive response to the pain that you caused him from being abusive.
Yep.
Good Lord.
Well,
aliens are manipulating us. That's a joke. Maybe. Okay. I think, all right, so...
we should wrap it up, huh?
Yeah, I think we've beaten this into the ground. Okay, so anybody out there, anybody listening to us, if you would like to send us a message after the show is over or just send us a tip, you can do so at feedthebadger.com/justthetip. And we get the full benefit of whatever funds you send, and you get the full benefit of sending your comments not through YouTube's comment minefield. So once again, feedthebadger.com/justthetip. And if Brian has anything further to say, I invite him to say it, and then, say the end.
No, I think I said what I wanted to say. I mean, I think that it's just like, it's a woman health check, and also a slight reinforce. Like, women haven't been afraid of men enough lately. Let's throw another, a grenade into the relationship between men and women, and just like wait and see what happens. And we'll get the the liberal women, the conservative women. We'll just get all the women activated.
Right. Yeah, it's an invitation to think about how. It's an invitation to think about how awful a small minority of genetically abnormal men make women feel, and then project that onto all men. Yes,
exactly. Or they'll say too many men or whatever it is. But that's like at the end of the day, like if women don't like grow a spine, this is just going to keep happening over and over and over. And men, the reaction basically they're just going to check out. Soft guy era, that's it. Like they're just gonna check out, and that's just we're gonna get the society we deserve, because women, they wanted to be liberated, and they're so liberated they're terrified of every person other than themselves. So that's all I got to say.
Internalized misogyny. They're also terrified of themselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good Lord. All right. So once again, feedthebadger.com/justthetip. Tell us we're not screaming into the void, because sometimes it feels like that. And back to you, Brian.
All right. If you guys like this video, please smash like, subscribe if you're not already subscribed, hit the bell for notifications, leave us a comment. Let us know what you guys thought about what we discussed in the show today. There's links to the various things that we responded to in the description. I did get one more Super Chow because of course I did. This is from Richard Bier for $5. He says, we need to look deeper behind the curtain to find out just who the true puppet masters are. This didn't originate with a single person, but rather from a meeting around a conference table. I suspect that the feline overlords are attempting to regain their power where they used to be worshipped as deities. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Appropriately obscure.
No, he's talking about cats.
I know.
In the end, it's cats. You know what? Let them have the world. They deserve it. And I think that if humans go the way of the panda, so be it. I mean, I'm not happy with it, but there seems to be somebody who's deeply invested in destroying the relationship between men and women with this nonsense, and women keep biting. It's literally, hey ladies, come over here. I got something to sell you. This is how you can abuse your male partners and boyfriends and husbands today. Go ahead, go do it. Go do it. And then if he responds in a way that a normal man would, that means he's one of the awful ones.
That's basically what it is, yeah.
Yeah.
But women, the thing is, at the end of the day, women agree to it. They're like, oh yeah, we'll do that, yeah. So it's, I put it at there. Lay it at there. I'm laying it at your feet, ladies. You did this. Nobody else.
You need to stop. You need to stop doing this. Whenever some sleazeball comes by and says, hey, have you considered abusing your man this way? You ladies need to say, hey, no. Okay.
All right, anyway, like, share, subscribe, comment, hit the bell notifications, and I'll talk to you all in the next one. Thanks for coming on.
sexist, homophobic, xenophobic, Islamophobic, you name it.